We start the episode out with Gwen asking why exactly she wasn't going with Ben and Kevin to wherever it was they were supposed to meet up with the contact. And Ben says it's because the people there can't control themselves. She says that she can handle herself just fine, and Kevin says that's the problem, confusing her. Ben explains that the place was not somewhere she'd want to go because someone would say the wrong thing the moment she walked in, and that he'd have to kill them just to keep the others from trying anything, and not to worry because he and Kevin could handle it as he handed her something. Gwen raises an eyebrow asking what exactly that was, and Ben tells her to just go shopping with it while they handled what they needed to take care of. Both Gwen and Kevin raising their eyebrows at Ben, to which Ben says he's not an idiot. There's plenty to keep her busy, but it's prepaid. She can't spend more than how much is on there. Questioning how much actually is on there, Ben says not much really, and tells her the exact amount, surprising both her and Kevin that Ben would call that not much. But then Kevin remembered that Ben wasn't just a plumber, he was also a bounty hunter that worked alongside Tetrax and Technorg on occasion, and had taken down some criminals of his own as well. With an annoyed sigh, Gwen takes the card and tells the two that they'd better hurry up because she didn't want to wait forever for them. Then began to walk into the nearby mall to go shopping, and the guys then headed on off to go where they were supposed to be going, Ben having changed into his bounty hunting gear, including helmet that better hid his face. They pull up to a place that looked like it had seen better days, with busted windows and a Tetraman being thrown out the door while fighting a Sotoragian in blue armor that had charged after them to continue the fight out in the street, with Ben walking past, chatting with them as if they were friends. Starting trouble already, huh, 99? Ben questions the Sotoragian that looked up at Ben and began saying something in an alien language that was hard to understand, though Ben seemed to get it, and says the Tetraman should have known better before walking inside, letting the two fight, as Kevin had absorbed some of the metal of Ben's armor to make a coating for himself, as they threw on a cloak and walked inside. The two looked around as the fighting that had been going on inside stopped, seeing Ben there in his bounty hunter attire. He walks over to the bartender and asks them something, as they then gestured over towards a table where a porcupine, possum, rat, alien thing was trying to hide. And Kevin then walked over, throwing the table across the room, picking up the hiding rodent. Argent, I believe you have something we are interested in. Argent tries firing his quills, which do nothing to either Ben or Kevin given the type of metal the armor set was made up of, and he looks freaked out and says that he doesn't have what they're looking for, but that he knows who does and he could make the connection for a price, and Ben puts the plasma blade to his throat in response to that, making Argent look wide-eyed at him. Kevin demands to know the name of who exactly has it, as Argent freaks and tells them that he can make the connection, begging for them not to kill him, and then Kevin drops him onto the ground, demanding that he does so now. Nodding, Argent immediately takes out his phone and makes a call to the person that has the tech they were looking for, and then tries to leave with Ben shoving him against the wall with his staff, telling him, "We're all gonna wait right here for them, and if you've lied to us," he warned, looking at the plasma blade, with Argent getting the picture. A big alien, the same species as Technorg, comes in not long after, and sees Argent with a bounty hunter, and someone in a cloak, with the rest of the bar brawling it out as always, and makes their way over to them, smacking a Goromand out of his way as he did so, demanding to know what kind of deal they were willing to offer. Ben then tells them to prove that they have what they're looking for first, to which they show them a hollow disc and activated it, showing a couple of seconds of Max Tennyson on it before cutting it off, and asked just what they were willing to offer in exchange for it. Ben and Kevin look at one another before back to the Detrovite, and they both then punch him in the face, making him drop the tech, and Ben throws Argent into a crowd as the brawl was raging, making them freak out and fire off their quills that took down several of the aliens as he tried to grab the device and run off. The Sotoragian 99 then kicks Argent in the face, since his quills didn't affect their armor either, sending him crashing through a wall as they picked up the device after he'd dropped it, and began speaking in their alien language again, with Ben nodding and the Detrovite growling angry, trying to fight with them, as Ben slams the end of his staff into their shoulder before then swinging and smacking them across the face, making them drop to the side and start to get up. They heard beeping and looked looked down at the armor where Ben had struck it with the end of his staff and saw that it had an explosive on it that went off, taking down part of the bar with it as the armor had been busted from the explosion. Kevin says that was impressive as 99 then stares them down for a moment and Ben reaches for something he'd had from one of the pouches on his belt. After a moment, the two throw something at one another, with Ben grabbing it, showing that it was a device that they'd come after. And 99 had a card of some kind in their hand now. Ben then nodded to 99 as they flew off, and Ben then put something down on the bar, telling the bartender that should cover damages, and walks out with Kevin following. And after getting into the car, Kevin asks Ben what that was about with 99, to which he tells him that they were a friend from his bounty hunting days, and that basically they'd agreed to help with all that if he'd paid them. Kevin asks how much exactly that was because he'd heard it would be expensive, though Ben tells him not really. It just costed a free refill card at Mr. Smoothie's, going on to explain that the ingredients that go into the smoothie making process were rare delicacies on their planet. The card costed like $20 here, but on their planet it would be worth a bounty of around 20,000 or so. After changing and going to get Gwen, who'd enjoyed her time shopping, Ben activated the holo disc with Grandpa Max appearing on it, telling Ben that if he's watching this then he's in deep and he can't reveal everything, but he can tell him that he can't go it alone and that he needed to put together a team from the plumber's kids.